Hello everybody, welcome back to the Roost and another exciting episode of Roost IRL. Today we're out here. It's a nice sunny day in October. You can see there's getting to be some color in the woods over yonder, and we're going to be going over there and walking into the woods for a little bit. And I really don't have anything planned. There's no script or anything. I just thought I'd take a little walk in the autumn woods and take you along with me, and we'll see what happens. Now, we could just go straight through the field here, but there's a fair amount of poison ivy. If I pan over here, you can see, you see all those yellow leaves? I don't know how well it's going to come across in the video, but all those yellow kind of broadleaf things down there, yeah, that's all poison ivy. This whole field is full of it. So what we're going to do, there's a fence row. You see the woods there. That's an old fence row. Goes back around and then comes down this way. But we're going to go over here and go in the woods here under this big old oak. You see that big deciduous tree is an oak. On the left there's a pine tree, but that big tree there kind of in the center, that's a big old white oak. We're going to go over here and go in the woods. Before we go though, I'll show you some of these wildflowers. You see that? Isn't that pretty? That is an ironweed. That's called ironweed. And they're called that because they're pretty tough. That stem is really tough, and they're real resilient to temperature changes. Those flowers can actually be used to make a rudimentary purple dye. So the Indians would have used them for that. Get off of me, fly. Go on now. Go find somebody else to pester. Yeah, so that's an ironweed. You'll see this field here has laid fallow for several years, and you can see there's a bunch of ironweed in it. Also a lot of poison ivy. I need to get to work on that. Okay, let's go over here, see what we can find. Now, again, we're here under this big old oak. That big tall tree there is a white oak. That's probably about 120, 130 feet tall. It's in the prime of its life. And underneath you've got all kinds of, there's squirrels that like to hang out around here, and they plant a lot of hickory nuts, let me focus, and acorns. So if you look down here, right here, there's my foot. This tree here, this is a hickory tree. There's actually two of them here. This is where a squirrel has planted a hickory nut, and they forgot where it was, and it's come up as a tree. And you can see here that is poison ivy right there. 3 leaves. Leaves of 3, stay away from me. Right here, this is a different kind of oak. This is not white oak, but that again is where a squirrel has planted an acorn. Little seedling there. Here is another hickory. There's another oak, and there's another one there. You see, so the squirrels are busy. They remember where a lot of their nuts are, but they forget a lot of them too. So they're really responsible for repopulating the forest in a lot of ways. There's another little hickory right there. So all in here on the edge of the woods where the squirrels hang out, there's a whole bunch of seedlings. And now we're right under the canopy of that big old oak. Look at it. Look at that. That's something. Now there was one, you see there's kind of a, right here, there's a kind of a hole. There was another oak there that was about that big that fell here a couple of 3 years back. And it's letting the light in. And you can see there's like an ironwood tree right here, that bright green ironwood, or what we call skunk wood. It's benefiting from more sunlight. Here's actually a white oak. Now, you see I got this bamboo here in the ground to mark this. I'm going to move these this winter. There's several white oak seedlings there. I'm going to move them somewhere else where they're going to do some good. Those, of course, have come from this big mama tree here. I hope I'm not making you dizzy looking up like that. But at this rate, we're going to be next week getting to the woods, ain't we? Well, that's okay. I'll walk you up here to that tree. Matter of fact, let's just go right up this way here. Now, this is a sunny day. I want to tell you something about walking in the woods. Now, it's a sunny day. It's been chilly. And it's not like mega warm today. It's in the 60s. But this is a good day, especially after it's been rainy, cloudy for a few days. This would be a good day to see snakes out. We might see one. But just watch out. You know, an area like this right here, it's open with a lot of sun. This would be a prime spot for a snake to, you know, bask, warm himself up. So I got to kind of pay attention to the camera and the snake situation. So if you hear me holler out here, it'll probably be because I either fell in a hole or got bit by a snake. Here's the trunk. And here's a little red maple. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Yeah, pretty foliage. Okay, so yeah, here's that big white oak. And you see that vine right, let's see, right there, growing up and down? That's poison ivy. Yeah, that's a poison ivy vine. Look at it going up through there. Look at it just going up through there. Look at it. It swirls around. It goes all the way up to the top of the tree. Now, it's not parasitic, so it's not really hurting anything. It's just hitching a ride on the side of the tree to get some, you know, sunlight. And this tree right over here, this is a maple tree that was totally in the shade of that other oak that fell. And now it's getting full sun, and it has grown several feet in those past few years. You can't even see the top of it now, but it's doing quite well. It doesn't like much being as tall as this big oak over here. And this thing is massive. Let me go over here. And here's a close-up view of a smaller but still fairly large poison ivy vine. Okay, you see all the little hairy like tendrils? That's how he hangs on. We don't want to get too close. There's a couple smaller ones there, because again, if you watch the Dolly Parton truck video, you'll know that I'm very allergic to poison ivy. And you see, this tree is actually a fork tree. There's 3 forks. It's trifurcated, which is pretty common. But I don't have anybody out here with me to video me against the tree, or for me to video anyone else against it. But I'm going to go in here. Let me not touch the poison. Let's see. Let me start out here. You can see the tree. The width of the tree is totally in frame. There's my hand. Let's pull a Kubrick here. That doesn't give you much of an idea, does it? Yeah, well, my hand all the way out is about, well, I can reach 12 notes on the piano all the way across. So, yeah. Big old hand. That's a big old tree. I would estimate the age of the tree it has been listed as a property marker for, or a corner marker, I guess you could say, since at least 1860. So I'm sure it must have been big then, or they wouldn't have been using it for that purpose. You know what I mean? So I'd say this tree is, I mean, it's absolutely, you know, Constitution age, probably older. This tree was probably here in the colonial period, I'd say. No doubt about it. It's gigantic. You're looking at a trunk at the bottom here across of, say, 5 feet, I would say. Across there. Close to 5 feet, say 4.5 maybe. It's not the biggest tree I've ever seen, but it's a big one. It's a big one. Just this one, the bigger side, if we look up here for a little bit, just the bigger side would be a remarkably large tree. I mean, this is like Deku tree level here. And its friend that fell over, that was absolutely as old as it was not forked. It was a single tree. And here's what's left of him. Look at that. Isn't that something? He just gave up the ghost. He was leaning, and he just fell over. And that was the end of him. It was quite sad. Now you can see, I don't know if you can kind of make it out, but the barn is right there. The fact that it missed the barn is just a miracle. Because, again, like I say, these trees are about 120, 130 feet high. The one that fell, I think we measured, was like 120, 122. So I'm stepped in a stump hole. So yeah, that's quite impressive root, or well, bottom of the trunk. The roots are still in the ground. Yep. So that's that. Two big oak trees. One of them dead, one of them not. So let's just keep going up this way. I hear the dogs after something over toward the east there. We're headed north right now. For those of you who are used to being outside, that should be obvious. It's right about noon right now, and if you look down, my shadow is pointing. My shadow is pointing generally the way we're going, so that means that we are headed north, because the sun is always in the southern part of the sky, even more so in the fall and winter because the angle gets lower. That's for northern hemisphere. Anybody that may be watching in the southern hemisphere, of course, you know that's different for y'all. Here's a little grove of ferns. Now these are evergreen. These are called Christmas ferns. There goes Pepper. These are called Christmas ferns because they're green even at Christmas time. You see, there's a bunch of them here. There's one. Here's one that's kind of a bigger one. You can see here. These ferns growing in the woods. A bunch of them here. Bunch of them. Yeah, there used to be a fair amount of ginseng in these woods too, but over time, folks have pretty much dug that up and shipped it off to China. Now this is pretty clear undergrowth, pretty undergrowth free for the most part through here. This was logged around about 85, 86. So you see this is, and it's been completely untouched since then. So you see the trees are still pretty small, even after all this time. Because at 85, 86, that's been a while, but in terms of a tree life, you know, it has not. The reason those big trees weren't cut is they were part of property corners, which have since, you know, become moot points. But at any rate, it takes a long time for a forest to recover. Just, I'd say, for this year, and I'd say the undergrowth has been basically died down in here for the past 3 or 4 years. So we're just starting to get to that level of the forest's maturity where we're getting undergrowth free. When I was a kid, this was all virgin timber, and it had never been cut. So all the trees were like that big oak tree back there. And it was like a wonderland, you know. It was like the woods of Lorien back here, especially in the fall. I remember being back here with one of my uncles, the one I told you about in the truck video that drove the truck to Kaz Walker's to work. He had an old mare named Pat. And in the fall, we used to like take old mare back in the woods and, you know, just hang around out here looking for acorns or mushrooms or whatever we could find. And I remember being back here, especially before it was logged, being back here with my uncle and the old horse. And the leaves were just so beautiful. It was like a dream, you know. And the more time that goes by, the more dreamlike it is, because of course my memory is, well, you know how it is when you get older. things recede farther and farther into the mists of time. Well, they call them the mists of time for a reason. Now, here is a tree. This is an old beech tree. I would say that this big one is what I'm talking about. I'd say they probably didn't cut that when they logged, because that's pretty big. Beech grows pretty slow, so for whatever reason they did not cut that, I'd say. I don't know why. Beech is interesting. You see, it's still got, its leaves are still real green. Well, beech, its leaves will turn kind of brown, and then they'll hang on there all winter, and they don't fall off until the new buds swell in the spring and push them off. So a beech tree will sort of go through 2 cycles of fall, if you will, and it doesn't actually lose its leaves until the spring. It's got a real slick bark. I'll go over here close to him. See there? It's just a real slick, if I can get it to focus. There you go. It's real slick. This is like a type of lichen, I think, that's growing on it. Mostly there's a small one here. I think this coloration, that may be part of the tree, but it may also be some kind of lichen. I'm not sure about that. I don't remember. But it's a slick bark tree, and it's got real knotty wood. Real yellow looking, kind of orangey wood. Looks kind of like a mushmelon or a cantaloupe when you cut it open. Not much good for much of anything. That's probably why it's still here. Good for climbing though. Notice, I mean, my tree climbing days are pretty much behind me, but this would be a good place to get a hold. I'm about 8 foot off the ground, so not terrible. You could get you a hold right there. And these old knotty limbs, they look kind of small, but that would hold you. That would hold you, believe you me. And then once you get up in there, I mean, talk about a good climber. Look at that. Boy, it'd be fun, wouldn't it? I remember as a kid climbing trees. Always had a good time. I don't remember ever climbing this tree. Of course, it'd have been a lot smaller back when I was climbing trees, but still. It is right next to a sinkhole. I don't know if it comes through here in the video, but let's walk back over this way a little bit. Can you kind of see how the grade just sort of goes down into a bowl shape and then back up over there? I don't know how well that's coming through. It may look kind of flat, but if we look around here, kind of looks like a crater. You know, all sloping down that way. Let me go over here into the thing. This is what's called a sinkhole. Now, if all your knowledge of sinkholes is what you've heard about on the internet, then that's only one kind of sinkhole, the kind that just sort of opens up and swallows everything. This one is stable. This one is stable. Now, if I'm walking down in the sinkhole, I'm kind of down in the middle of it now. Now if I turn around, everything looks uphill. You see? I hope it comes through. There's that old beech. You see how everything looks kind of uphill from here? Well, I'm down in a bowl-shaped feature. A sinkhole is common in what we call karst topography. And the karst topography is a place where the bedrock is mostly limestone or dolomite. And limestone and dolomite are very soluble in cold water, so they're easily dissolved by cold water. So the groundwater will create cavities in the limestone or dolomite, and it'll make caves. That's how the caves are made in this area. And sometimes a cave ceiling will sort of collapse in on itself. Sometimes the whole cave will just crush down, and it'll just, you know, and that'll be the end of it, right? But sometimes it'll just go down a little bit, and it could still go down a whole lot more, but it just hasn't yet. Well, what I'm standing in right now is a collapsed cave ceiling. I mean, it could open up and swallow me at any minute, but it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Yeah, so this is very common in this area to find a lot of sinkholes. And these are not quite like the sinkholes you hear about in Florida that open up and swallow everything. They're so dangerous in Florida because the water table, everything is, very low elevation. We're up in the mountains here. But in Florida, you've got a lot of low elevation. The water table is not very far down. So when a sinkhole does open up, it usually has water in it, and, you got a lot of instant damage. Whereas here, if one opens up near your house or under your house, it's going to cause some foundational damage, and it might fall in, but very rarely is there sinkholes that fall out in this area that cause serious property damage. Even though we do have a lot of sinkholes. Basically, every little depression you see somewhere is a sinkhole. Okay, I'm going to show you something over here. This is a sinkhole we're standing in, all right? Oh, here's something else. You see that jug? Used to in this area, and in a lot of areas, I'm sure, there weren't any trash dumpsters, so people just threw their junk out in the woods. That looks like an old Clorox bleach bottle. Wonder how long that's been laying there. Not too long, I don't guess, because the tree would have wrapped around it. But yeah, that's an old Clorox bottle. Back before we had plastic. But yeah, let me show you something about sinkholes. I'm going to walk out of the woods over here, and we'll look down toward the house. Let's see. We'll look down this way. Here, we'll watch out for... We're over in the shade now, so I don't think we're going to worry about snakes. Look at all those grapevines. You see those snaky-looking vines there? That's all muscadines. You ever hear of muscadine? Well, that's a muscadine right there. Some people call them possum grapes or fox grapes. And then there's a tame muscadine that people eat. I'm about to get wound up in spider web here. Yeah, so here we are. Let's look back out this way. You see how there's a slope downhill from here? And you see there's an old building down there and a cedar tree kind of in the middle. Well, all this is a sinkhole too. Oh, that's a sinkhole. We're not too far from the house. I'm going to walk out here. Up on top of this hill, the poison ivy's not so bad. Now, I can't really see anything. Sun's in my eyes. Okay, down there at those pine trees, you see those 3 tall, straight trees? That's where we started. We were down there. Now we're up here. There's that in the upper left. You see that big oak sticking out. And so we're on up here in the woods a little bit more. Well, since we're out in the field now, let's just stay here. Like I say, the poison's not too bad up here. Hey there, buddy. Here's Buddy. What do you say? What have you been up to? Okay. Let's go over here and we'll go back in the woods. See what we can find. I bet that exposure was blinding me. I'm sorry. The phone I'm using, this is just an old iPhone I had in a drawer. It's, let me just get over here in the shade. It is a first generation SE. So, I mean, it's not the highest end thing. It's not the greatest for shooting video, but it's probably the most convenient thing I have for shooting video like this, where I just want to go out and not be encumbered. You know, if you saw the Xenia video, I was talking about maybe using the Sony, but that's a whole lot more cumbersome. Look at this maple here. Isn't that beautiful? That's a little red maple. It's just a little guy. And there's a white oak up above it. The oaks haven't changed much yet. Let me get him to... Yeah, isn't that pretty? And then over here, there's a little sassafras. That orangey, bronzy looking tree there, that's a sassafras. Used to dig the roots up from those to make tea. Sassafras tea. The government says that's not good for you, but people still do it. And look at these. Look at these trees. Aren't that beautiful? Isn't that just great? We got a couple things going on here. Again, we're back in the sun, so we need to kind of watch out for the snakes. And there's a black snake that likes to hang out right in here usually, so I do need to watch out. They're harmless. You know, knock on wood, I have never encountered a timber rattler or copperhead here. But it's the first time for everything, I guess. This really red tree or shrub, what do you want to call it here? This is staghorn sumac. Everybody around here calls it shoemake. So you may hear me say that just instinctively. Look at the beautiful color that has. I mean, that is just stunning. And then there's those berries. You can use those berries to make a kind of a lemonade. Look at that. Isn't that just the most beautiful foliage you ever seen? It really is. And then this other tree that's putting on a show for us, this fella here, that is a black gum, or tupelo. No, that's a sourwood. I'm sorry. I'm looking through the camera lens. That's a sourwood. You ever hear of sourwood? If you take those leaves and pluck them off and kind of chew on the end or chew on a little stick, that will, it'll be real sour. And sourwood is a real tough wood, and it is useful for making sled runners and that kind of thing. Any kind of high friction purpose. You could also make backer sticks out of it. Tobacco sticks be used for hanging tobacco. Wagon wheel hubs, that kind of thing. Anything you need a real stout wood for. That's your sourwood. Yeah, there it is. And there we've got some more sumac over here, and I see something else that's interesting. Let's get over in here. This area has a lot of wild roses, and this time of year the fruit from the wild roses gets ripe. I don't know if you can see those. You see those little spheres, those little orbs, little balls? Those are rose hips, wild rose hips. Very high in vitamin C. Okay, here's one. Here's a smaller one that's closer. Look at it. Let's get him in focus. See that? Yeah, those are edible. They're a little bit on the bitter side, but you can make a tea with them. Helps for inflammation. They're also real high in vitamin C. You can just pluck them off and eat them. Those are wild rose hips. And of course, this guy right here, a lot of you probably know that one. That is American holly. That's one of my favorite trees. That's an evergreen, so that's going to look like that all winter. Beautiful tree. Let's see if we can work our way in. There's right many sawbriars right in here, but I think we can kind of stick our head in. You see all these green, spiky looking vines? Those are called sawbriars. And I know I have some viewers, I can't get it to focus, who are from different parts of the world, so you may not have these same plants where you're from. Of course, I know I have some viewers that are absolutely from the same general area I'm from, but yeah, so you see, I'm trying to get it to, you see those briars on there? And those things are pretty wicked. Look how sharp. Yeah, so a sawbriar can make you have a bad day. I'll tell you, you get one of them things hung in the crack of your hind end, you're going to be hollering. All right, now there's a road right back here. This is the road that goes down to the creek. Now, we're not going to be going all the way to the creek today because, well, a couple of reasons. One, it's a little bit of a walk, and I probably don't have time to get down there today, but we may go down there for another video sometime. Yeah, you go down that way. That goes kind of east-northeast. That way goes down toward the spring and down toward the creek. Now we turn around and look back that way. That would be the way we would be coming if I hadn't took that little detour and went out in the field. Okay, so let's just walk. That fence row I showed you, we're right behind it now. Now look at the sun shining through the back side of these leaves. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Let's look over here at that big old sourwood. I tell you, there is no array in this world that has anything on Mother Nature. That is just absolutely stunning. And you know, if you look up through here, let's look above this, up over our heads now. We got maple, we've got poplar, tulip tree. These real long, these two straight fellers here, those are tulip tree or poplar. And big maples up there. Just look up and down through there. It looks like we're standing under the vaulted ceiling of a cathedral, doesn't it? Doesn't it look just like that? The verticality here is just amazing. And I feel like I'm inside a cathedral. This is nature's cathedral. It's just so beautiful. Now this road, look at this. Look at this leaf. This is a scarlet maple leaf here. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Anyhow, this road is usually full of mushrooms at the right time of year. This is not a good time for mushrooms right now, but at different times of year, I'm going to try to hold the camera a little steadier. This is a good place to go looking for different types of mushrooms. Chanterelles and morels and several other things. Chicken phaceolus. There's even some like wild portobello button types that grow back here. Yeah. This is a good place to hunt mushrooms. Here's an old loblolly pine. We don't have a whole lot of these in our area, but here's one. When you think of the South, this is the pine you think of right here. And all my southern viewers know this site very well. Yeah, it's an old loblolly. Yeah, and he's barely hanging on. We had that pine bark borer that came through here, pine borer beetle or whatever it was called. There's another one here. Just about wiped out a lot of our big pines. Those big pines out in the backyard, they are white pines. Those were planted. Those are not native here. Here's another kind of pine. I'm gonna watch for a walk. Not only do I not want to step on a snake, but I don't want to step on little young seedlings if I can help it. This kind of pine, you notice there's a little bit of a difference in the bark. This is an old jack pine or a Virginia pine. And there's another word for it that's not too polite. I'm not going to say it, but it starts with an N. And that's that. A different kind of pine, and that and the loblolly are the two main wild pines around here. Yeah, it looks like Buddy's the only dog wanting to come with us. That's okay. Normally I've got more company, but he's just fine. Yeah, this is very relaxing. Again, I hope I'm not shaking you up too bad. Look here. Look at the light shining through those leaves there. Look at that. Isn't that just the prettiest thing you ever saw? And the trees in silhouette. I declare, as they say. I declare. Now here's a little ground cover. This is some kind of a... you see this little green stuff here? A lot of people around here just call this cemetery vine. It's a... I don't know if it's some kind of a ground juniper or some kind of a wort. If any of y'all know what this is called, let me know in the comments. But is this stuff right here? We get kind of close to it, you can see it. You see there? And it don't grow very high off the ground, which is what makes me think that it's a wort or something. Oh, Daddy. And it used to be common in graveyards. And it grows back here in this part of the woods. Now, there is a little old graveyard way back over the hill, back that way. And I cannot remember exactly how to get to it, but that might be... I think I'll work on that a little bit. We might do that for Halloween. Do a little graveyard walk. Because there's several old graveyards around here that might be fun to look at. And this stuff has kind of spilled out in the road here. Because I don't travel this road as much as I once did. This connects my parents' place with my farm. And then on back to my place. So this is kind of a... One time was kind of a thoroughfare when we were farming and whatnot. And Lord, honey, the firewood we used to cut back in here. Oh, long back in there. Oh, man. This is where we cut the majority of our firewood before and after they did the logging back here. And I remember after they had done that logging, that fall, there was all kinds of stuff back here, you know, scraps that they had left from cutting the logs. Oh man, it was everywhere. And we cut firewood till we was blue in the face. Here's another old firewood. Look at that. That one's kind of a pink. Now, firewood, honeybees love firewood, and if you like light honey, light-colored honey, firewood honey is the best. So you'll wait till the firewoods are blooming, and then you rob your bees. That's shortly thereafter. That's where you get your firewood honey, and so that right there makes the good honey. Now, black gum. Remember when we were standing back there and I was looking at that through the camera screen? I thought I was looking at black gum. Black gum has a similar leaf, but it's shorter. Black gum is also called Tupelo, and you probably heard of Tupelo honey. Tupelo honey is a very floral type of honey, and it's usually fairly dark colored, well, especially compared to sourwood honey. We have Tupelos here too. I have not come across one yet. The Tupelo, or the black gum, is getting to be somewhat scarce thanks to climate change. And look at those maples. Look at that. There's the old sun. Let's try to get him hid. Look at that. And then here's a yellow colored maple. I don't know if you can make that out. You see there goes the sunlight through it. Look at that. Yeah, buddy. And there's an old stump. There used to be a big old tree there. When I was a kid, you may have heard of the chestnut blight. It killed all the American chestnut trees. When I was a kid, all that was left of all those big trees was stumps that looked a lot like that. Very rotten. Like that stump is quite rotten there. And of course, some of them had already rotted out too while I was coming up. And there were just great big holes in the woods all over the place where those giants used to be. Yeah. So yeah, we cut firewood out of here. I remember one of my other uncles had a 59 Chevy Apache, and he was in the Marine Corps for several years, and he retired from the Marines and moved back here with my aunt. My aunt is my blood relative. My uncle is the marriage relative, but that didn't really make no point. I just thought I'd say that. But anyhow, he came back here. He had a 59 Apache, which is a pickup truck. It had a big 8-foot bed on it. It's 3/4 ton. And this would have been long about 86, 87. And, well, after they had logged this. And we spent a whole day. I remember me and my dad and my uncle and his son, my cousin, We spent the whole day back here cutting wood and loading. And now you could load some wood on that truck, because like I say, an 8-foot bed, 3/4 ton. And I'll show you where it was. You go right up in here. Let's see, I thought it was a little bit closer to it. No, it was right in here. It was right in here. You see back there in the woods, there's a tree that's fell down now. That's an old cedar. It was right in here. We cut up and hauled out, I don't know how many loads of wood that day. It was Saturday. That would have been along about 86, 87, like I said. Yep, that's a fond memory. And it was a beautiful day, very much like this. Of course, there was a lot more light back here then, because all this had just been clear cut. Oh, look at that maple. Look at the top of that. It's just like a paintbrush, ain't it? Now, all this had been clear cut. So all these trees were not here. There was nothing, no trees here at all. It had all been removed. And there's the view back down the road. Let's see. This phone makes everything look slightly bluer and slightly greener than it really is. In real life, that is a very golden view down through there. I may try to do some color grading on this. I don't know. I might. Mostly, I just wanted to bring y'all out into the woods with me. Oh, look. Do you see who's coming down the road? That's Biggie. And what you may not be able to see in the video is he's got mud up to his knees. Oh, Lord have mercy. He's been down to the pond. Maybe all the way to the creek. It's no big deal for him to get to the creek. Look at this. Look at this. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that. If I had a fisheye lens, you could really get a nice view. I have one. I just, I don't have it with me, nor the camera that you use it with, but isn't that just beautiful? Now this, I don't know, it's beautiful, but in a different way. Now you can see his muddy boots. Look at that. Well, you're gross, son. Where you been? Huh? Where you been? You want to say hi? Say hi. Let me get the focus there. Say hi. I'm Biggie. I'm a big old slobbery mess. I love you, buddy. You're a good boy. Okay. Well, let's walk on out here a little bit. Oh, get the finger out of the way. Let's walk on out here a little bit. He's tired. He's probably hoping I'd go back to the house. Well, we will go shortly. Anyhow. Yeah, I got a lot of childhood memories being back here in these woods. Especially in the fall. You know, when I was coming up, and when I started making this video, I was not wanting to do one of those, well, back in my day type videos, but I guess it's kind of become one of those, hasn't it? I'm sorry. Sorry, but I do remember when I was growing up, there's some more of those ferns. When I would get out of school, this was, I would say from along about 5th grade, I'd say, on till I graduated from high school. I'd get out of school and I would get me a little bit of a snack and a little something to drink, and I would put it in a bag or a backpack or something, sling it over my shoulder, and I'd hit the woods. And I'd stay in the woods till dark. Every single day, just about, when it wasn't, you know, just real nasty weather. Raining or snowing or whatever. And sometimes when it was snowing, I didn't really like going out in the rain much. There's a fork in the road here. I didn't like going out in the rain much, but the snow, I liked going out in the snow for sure. But yeah, just about every day. Of course, I was an only child, and living out here in, you know, BFE, there weren't any, there were no other children here. I mean, the next youngest person was my dad, and he was 31 years older than me, or 30 years older than me, so that's not exactly close in age, right? Plus it's your dad. Just you're not gonna do a whole lot of hell raising with your dad or anything like that. But we did go in the woods together a lot. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time out here and going up and down these hills with the critters. I always had dogs. There was at least one dog with me all the time. And I did that up until I started driving and, got interested in girls and things. And then I did a little less time in the woods, but still did a lot. I still stayed in the woods an awful lot. It just wasn't every single day anymore, you know what I mean? If we go off this way, we're going to go downhill, and we ain't going to stop going downhill. I just walked into a cobweb. We ain't going to stop going downhill till we get to the creek, and the creek is ways on down through there. So I think this is probably a good place as any to wrap it up. Again, let's look up one more time. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Just the serenity of the woods in autumn. Normally we would not still have this much green, but there hasn't really been a frost yet, so that's why that is. But yeah, I really appreciate you watching the video. Thanks for spending your time here with me for another Roost IRL. At some point, I may spin this off into another channel or something, but for now I think it's just makes a neat little diversion for every now and then, But let me know what you think in the comments. Be sure to like the video if you do indeed like it, and subscribe to the channel while you're here. I appreciate your support, and I hope you have a great day wherever you are, whenever you are. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. I got one more thing I want to show you. Here, Biggie, look here. Look here. This is something you got to be careful about this time of year in the woods. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, you see that right there? See, focus. Come on, focus. You see that? Can you see how it kind of, I can't see it too good, but the hind end of it's kind of a red. Yeah, that's a deer tick. That was on Biggie. That right there, if you get bit by one of these, it's not, you're not guaranteed to get Lyme disease or anything, but they do carry it. So you got to watch out. And when I get out of here, I'm going to check my legs and things. But Biggie's most likely to have gotten that when he was down at the creek. This area here is not usually very ticky. But yeah, that's, I don't know why. I was hoping it could focus a little closer. There you go. You see that? You kind of see how the back of it's a red color. This is what they call a black-legged tick or a deer tick. So I'm going to get rid of this thing, and I guess we'll see what else we can find. All right. See you then. All right, baby. Let's get out of the way. Come on. Get out of the way. Here's something. Here's something else that's neat. Look here. Right here in the middle of this road, look at this. It's some kind of a lichen or some moss growing here. Look at that. See, there's worlds of wonder right under your feet. You never know what you're going to see. You just got to keep your eyes out while you're out in the woods. Now here's I was walking back down toward the house, and we was talking about those grapevines earlier, those muscadines. Look here. Here's a big one. See if I can get over in there. Now this is going to be kind of ticky. It's kind of wet down in here. But I'd say that's about a 6-inch, 5 to 6 inch diameter. 5 to 6, I'd say, on that. And he comes up, and the light's not great here. I apologize for that. You got the contrast, but you see that's a big old, and there's the mosquitoes. Yeah, big old grapevine going up. He goes around, he goes right on up the tree, on up to the sun. And we'll see you again in a little bit. I keep finding other little things to talk about. So yeah, it's me again. I keep finding other little things to talk about when I walk back up out of here. So I'm gonna have to cut this together in an interesting way. But anyhow, I wanted to tell you, I was thinking about something I hadn't thought about in years when I was walking back out of here. This is, the road we've been walking on here. Wait, straight on back that way off in that way. It goes downhill a ways and then goes up real steep. And the side of the hill comes out to kind of like a point out there. And there used to be this old red, bright red vinyl couch, like they used to have in the late 40s, early 50s, that sat out there in the woods. I don't know why it was out in the woods, if somebody had just dumped it there or if that was somebody's setting place. But in the 80s and the 90s and early 2000s, it was still there, because that stuff, I mean, it was made to survive a nuclear blast, I guess. But that was a big landmark for me, that couch. And I used to hang out around there. Squirrels and chipmunks used to be there, and that was a good, if you was wanting to hunt them, that would be a good place to do that. If you was a squirrel hunter, of course, chipmunks ain't much eating, so you don't need shooting them, but they were still there. Deer and turkey and grouse would also come around that area, because it wasn't far out of the woods there. That couch was in the woods. It wasn't far out of the woods. You was in a field. So things like grouse and deer and what are they called? Quail. Sorry, I blanked on that for a minute. Yeah, quail. They like to hang out in zones like that. But anyhow, that and several of these other landmarks I was telling you about, when I was coming up, I always thought it'd be so cool to make like a Tolkien-esque map of these woods and mark all these places on it. And there's a lot of other things, like old roads that used to be here that aren't here anymore. The old red couch. Right over here, I don't know if you can see, under these trees you've been staring at for a while, there's one of those trash dumps. You can see there's a can in kind of the center left. And on to the right of the rightmost tree, you can see there's what's left of maybe a paint can or something. There's another one right there. I don't know if you can see it, kind of center left. Mark some of those trash dumps on here. And I tell you what, if you go over this little rise, it's pretty rough going. But if you walk through the woods right here and you go over the rise, it goes down right much into a holler. Maybe if you walk this way, you can look down in there a little bit. Yeah, the dogs are wondering, why are you going back the other way? Well, you see, now, if you watch this, now you understand why my Fallout playthrough is the way it is, or the Starfield one. You see, this I play those games like I live my life. Just wandering aimlessly, it is what it is. But there's nothing here really to see, but just to sate my own desires or whatever. I just walked right into another cobweb. See, I got one hand on the camera, and sometimes both hands, so I don't have a hand for a spider stick. Oh well. It's, a spider crawling on me, it's not a big deal. Anyway, you can kind of see that goes down into a draw there. Kind of follow my finger. That's going downhill into like a gully, or what we call a holler around here. Down at the bottom there used to be a schoolhouse. There was an old one-room school. Now that would be a prime subject for, the Tolkien-esque map, right? As a matter of fact, I went down there digging around one time, and I found the old pot-bellied stove that was in the school. Most of the stove was rotted away, but a door, a couple of the doors that were on it, and an ornamental piece I've got hanging up down in the barn down here that were in that old low gap school. All right, let's see. Buddy's going back that way, but we're going the other way. Let's just keep going. I'll just leave the camera on we may find something else to look at. Come on, Biggie. Come on. I'll just leave it running. We'll cut it out if it sucks, right? We might meet the Brotherhood of Steel out here. You never know. Okay. See the sunlight ahead. Light at the end of the tunnel. Buddy's young. You hear him sprinting off in different ways. I don't know if you can see him. Probably can't. He's brindle, so he wins in pretty good. He always scampers off. Biggie, he's right behind me. I don't know if you can hear him breathing. There he is. See, I stop, he stops. Very well. Oh, look, there's another tick. Let's get that. I give the dogs Brevecto, but you know, he's just come in from tick world. Look here, here's another one. You see that? I can't get it to focus. Another one. These deer ticks. Lyme disease city, baby. Let's have that, Biggie. Come on. Did you think this was the kind of video that you would watch today? De-ticking the dog. He's just come in from somewhere. Like I say, he got those muddy feet someplace. Somewhere where there's water, and the ticks like that. Fortunately, he has white hair. So, and you can see there's one of them. There's the other one. Yeah. They're crawling around on me. Buddy. Okay, so I just dropped them. Well, whatever. They're somewhere else now. They're not on me or Buddy, I don't think. That's life in the woods, folks. Yes, Buddy. Let's go. Yeah, Biggie says, hurry up. I need to get home and get a sandwich. All right, me too. Me too. Now I feel like I have ticks all over me. You ever get that feeling? I don't. I probably just have a spider crawling up my back. But that's fine. Like I say, I spent most of my life out here in the woods. If I was bothered by a spider, I would be worried about myself. Still, you know, that tick feeling. You know, when you find a tick or a bug crawling on you, you know that feeling? You feel like they're everywhere? Yeah, I get that. Even though I'm kind of an outdoorsman, I still have that sensation. So don't feel bad if you feel that way. But what I feel tickling me now, I'm sure, is just cobwebs stuck in what's left of my hair. And we're about back to the house. We didn't go super far. One of these days, we'll go on a big walk. Go back to the back side of the place. Way back. Check out the hunting cabin. Maybe some of the back barns, that sort of thing. And look at all the wonderful, useful property that I've just let grow up like a fool. I tell you, you know, farming's hard business around here. Around anywhere, and if I'm not making money on the land, I don't see the need in keeping it all cleared off. You know what I mean? Let it go back to the Indians and the bears, as they say. Now we're coming down off this hill. We're just coming out of the woods. Orient you a little bit. That way you can do like Sniper Wolf and Doxman. Bamboo patches right there in the distance. These are hazelnuts. Right here, these real stemmy looking things. Those make real good arrow shafts. And they also have good nuts on them. Right over here in the woods is the Dolly Parton truck. If you haven't seen the video on the Dolly Parton truck, that's it right over there in the woods. Kind of right in the middle of the frame now. And the old hen house. That's looking back down to the house and the carport and so forth. You know, it's an humble home, but it works. We got good internet. Look at that. And there you can see those kind of brownish, reddish looking bushes in the middle of the frame. Those are forsythia. And just past that, kind of right here, that's the blackberry patch. There's the mulberry, and then the bamboo is over here. And this is what's going to be a bonfire later. Probably not tonight, because it's going to be a little warm side tonight. But you see all my pumpkins I put there on the log? Actually, Dad did that. I picked the pumpkins. Dad did the decorating. All those pumpkins. There was a whole wagon load, not like a big wagon, but like one of those wagons you pull. Well, you can see it right there. That like a wagon you pull behind the lawnmower. It was slammed full of pumpkins, all on one plant. So it came up in my compost pile, and I just let them grow. I was gonna feed them to my little dog that passed away. She likes pumpkin sweet potatoes. She was on kind of special diet. She passed away, and now she's just got a bunch of pumpkins. There's Ted and Buddy. They like to wrestle. Yeah, bud. So yeah, that over there, that's the Dolly Parton truck over there. If you haven't watched the video, there'll be a card coming up. You can just click that. You can watch that if you want to. It's an interesting tale. You're probably wondering, if you haven't seen it, how in the world, what does that have to do with Dolly Parton? I mean, we'll find out. And over here is my little graveyard of my little poochies. I got them decorated. We had two of them leave us about the same time. Sophie and Barkley. Sophie's here. And Barkley's over there. He was a basset hound, and she was like a plot hound, blue tick mix. I don't know. She was just various hounds mixed together. She was a great big old dog. And see, right up there, this is a red oak here, but to kind of bring things full circle. Here's the barn we use all the time here. And there's that big oak. We're now on the other side of that big oak. That's where we started out. And you remember me doing the zinnias if you saw that video. Just to give you an update on that. There, look at those marigolds. That's what's right in front of us there. Now that we're closer, I hope that dead cat's helping, because there the winds are blowing now. There you can kind of see here's some of the pumpkins I haven't done anything with yet. There they are. It's about half of them. They're all little things. They're like little pie pumpkins. There they are. A little old pine log up there. Anyhow, yeah, here's some. Hey, we got them everywhere. Like I said, I had planned on Sophie eating them all, but you can see one of the compost heaps is out over there. It's kind of small, but there's one. Blackberries are over there. This is an old horse-drawn hay rake here. Now just kind of a decorative thing. And let's just go on up and look at the fire patch before we wrap it up. Well, look at that. Look at those burning bushes, those red bushes. Those are called burning bushes. Don't they look good? Okay. So we haven't had, there was one real light frost. Didn't hardly even count as a frost. But this fire patch is still going. So what I was telling you about, if you want something that's going to go to frost, well, here, this is it. Look at these marigolds. When you saw them last, they hadn't really kicked into high gear yet, because we were a little late getting them out, but there they are. And the cosmos, look at them. They're still just going crazy. The zinnias, well, I mean, you know, they're still blooming. The foliage is still looking kind of rough. But the bees are still getting an awful lot out of them, especially these marigolds. Are we focused? I don't know. There's all kinds of bumblebees over in there. I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're there. I mean, look at that. It's just like it's a carpet. And these are a little different. They've got red on them. I don't know if they came out of a different bunch, because I save the seeds from year to year. Every now and then I'll buy some seeds just to get some new genetic information in so they don't get bottlenecked. But if you like marigolds, there you go. The bumblebees sure love them. Well, last time you saw those, they were not doing like that. And the zinnias, like I say, they look kind of ragged now, but I'm leaving them here because there's pollinators still getting stuff from them. But they are still blooming. They're still blooming. You could definitely use them for cut flowers. They do real good as cut flowers. Yeah, so there they are. And again, the cosmos. Look at that. When the storm blew them down, I thought about just, doing away with them. I'm glad I didn't, because they're really looking pretty good. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. There's somebody going down the road there. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, I appreciate your time and taking an hour or so out of your day to watch the video. It really means a lot to me. Be sure to like the video if you did like it, and comment below letting me know what you think about it. I look forward to chatting with you. And subscribe if you have not done that. Your support also means everything to me and helps me keep going. I mean, if it wasn't for all of y'all watching, and I know some of you really, really like these videos, so if it wasn't for each and every one of you, I wouldn't bother going out in the woods with a phone and a dead cat cover and talking to myself like a fool. So I hope that you get something out of it. I enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.